Michael joins us in Phoenix. Michael, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Yes, hi, George, Rachel. Thank you for taking my call. I hope you guys are better than you deserve.
We are, for sure. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. So a couple questions. Well, one major, a little bit of background. Just became homeless back in September due to some unforeseen circumstances.
Sorry to hear that.
But I'm a single dad, 2 kids, trying to build back better, if you will. And I have a great job, but don't know where to start really. I've got my emergency fund in place, got into a cheaper car, got into a cheaper apartment, and just really trying to take control of my finances so my finances aren't taking control of me anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a lot better than you were not long ago. So you're in an apartment now. You've got somewhere safe to stay, and the kids are safe.
Yep, absolutely.
And you've got the job. What's your income?
Don't know the annual, but 26 an hour. I'm a truck driver.
Truck driving, 26 an hour. That's great. And is child care a part of the equation here?
Negative.
Okay. Good. And you have debt?
I don't know how you would label consumer debt, but creditor debt.
Okay. How much debt is owed currently?
Student loans, car, couple of hospital bills, right around 30.
30,000. Okay. And you've got an emergency fund in place. How much is in there?
About $1,200.
$1,200. So you've got that baby step one going, that starter emergency fund, and you have a reliable car, and you've got a place to stay, and you can afford the rent there?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm impressed. It sounds like you've been through a whole lot in the past, a few months. How recent is all of this?
September.
Wow. Man, you are resilient.
Yeah, Michael, you've done an amazing job. Do you know that, right?
Well, it's my kids. I live for my kids. I work for my kids. I love my kids.
Yeah. Well, it's a good why in there, because what you've been through is it's hard. It's really hard. And especially if you're the sole provider of that, I know the weight that feels and that responsibility that you feel. And I feel like the thing that sucks about money is that, your past decisions, they do follow you. You're having to face these things that you're like, man, I hate it. But you have not let it completely just overtake you or define you. I mean, you really have. I hear it in your voice of I'm gonna do something different because what I did, it didn't work. And so I'm willing to change and do the hard work to dig myself out of this. And I just think that's it's just really impressive and really brave to make big changes like this in your life, Michael. So I want to encourage you in that. And that this debt, it is it all in collections? Because you were talking about creditors.
Correct. Yeah. It's all in collections.
Okay. Well, one positive note in some of that, maybe not as much the student loans, but the other stuff, there are chances that you can negotiate with them when it gets to this point. And once you get some money, let's just use one of them for an example. How much would you say is on the car, for instance?
16.
16,000. Okay. So, working to get some cash, and sometimes they will settle with you, and to say, hey, it's been X amount of time and here's what I have. What's the best thing you can do? For me, what's the best deal, you can give me? I mean, there's always that strategy as well that is a possibility, not that it's all in collections, but if that doesn't work, then obviously kind of just chipping away at this, and it'll be a marathon. It's not going to happen overnight like we say around here, but getting those quick wins of paying off that smallest one is going to be it's going to be exciting. What is your smallest debt, Michael?
About 1,000.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, you got 1,200 in the bank, so you can do it. You can work and save that. So that'll feel real good when you hit that first one out.
Yeah. So if you're following the baby steps, we talk about the 4 walls, and it sounds like you've got those covered. That's food, utilities, shelter, transportation. Once we have that covered, you can move on to that starter emergency fund, which you have. And then next up, we're going to list those debts from smallest to largest, depending on what's going on with the creditors. And like Rachel said, the older the debt has been in collections, the better chance you have of settling. And so if I'm you right now, I'm going to work my tail off. Maybe that means taking a second job, doing anything to increase income and cut down expenses to create that margin so that we can save up, $8,000 and go to that car loan and say, hey, I've got 8. Are you willing to take that today and be done with this? And a lot of the times they'll say, we'd rather have some of the money than none of it.
Yeah.
And they'll take that, and that can be knocked out. And the medical bills especially, a lot of those can be negotiated down, especially with hardship and income. So do your research and be proactive communicating with the creditors. Call them once a week and give them updates. I want you to bother them more than they bother you. They're going to want you off their back instead. And so you've done an incredible job. Obviously, I want this debt out of your life as soon as possible so that you can really start to create that new financial future for you and your kids. How old are the kids?
14 and 12.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And are they in school? What's their situation?
School full-time.
Okay, awesome. That's good. That frees you up to be able to work. Are you back home every night with this trucking gig?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm local.
Okay. That's great news. Well, the good news is the trucking industry is in high demand, and so you might even look into what other jobs are out there. Can I increase this income? Is there overtime? I know that can be difficult in the trucking industry with regulation, but just doing whatever you can for the next, maybe it's 2 years to knock out this debt, especially if you can settle some of it. It could be shorter than that. And once you're through with that, you get that fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then you can rest easy at night and start investing for your future. How old are you?
36.
36. Dude, you got your whole life ahead of you. You've got a whole new life to start, a new legacy to build with these kids. And, you know what to do, and I think you're going to do it. You're a resilient guy. Nothing's going to stop you at this point from where you were to where you are today and where you're going to be.
That's right.
That's
right. And my kids have a full life ahead of them, and I want theirs to be better than mine.
Yeah. And it will, Michael. I mean,
especially
honestly.
Financially.
Yep. I mean, you're literally doing the steps right now to what we say around here all the time is changing your family tree, and that's exactly what you've been doing. Do you feel more hopeful today than even 3 weeks ago? Like as you start really making progress and you save and you're feeling kind of the traction of this working, how does it feel now?
I mean, I was able to pay off a creditor last week, and it felt amazing.
Amazing.
It's discouraging when I can't do it every week, but it gives me hope.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Well, you keep taking one day at a time. Keep busting your butt for this family. Clearly, that's your why. So let that why fuel you along this journey and start to dream of what that future looks like and what it looks like to maybe be in a home one day or be doing the job you really want to do and the kids going to college, and just start to dream about that future, and that's going to keep you going every day. That's what you need right now is that daily motivation. Listen to this show for motivation. Get a community around you if you don't have any right now, some friends who can cheer you on along the way, some family. That's really going to help you get through this journey.
No, thank you.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you so much for the call. We are cheering you on, my friend.
Yes. What a good dad.
I know. I'm just impressed by this guy.
And it sounds hard. Like the road he just explained, I'm like, it's hard.
Yeah.
And yet choosing to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out, get another job, find an apartment. I mean, all of it. That's so courageous to me because there's a lot of, and I get it, but there's some it's just like, oh, I don't even know what to do. They're stuck and they can't move. It's almost like they're paralyzed by fear, but
he didn't stop moving.
No, really digging in and said, okay, I'm going to do something different and I'm going to change what I've been doing, which is uncomfortable in the first place, let alone his life situation. So I think it's amazing.
Call us
Great
up
job,
or come visit us to do your debt-free screen.
That's right.
From homeless to debt-free. That's a cool story.